Hi friends, it's Tuesday, December 5th, and we just ended our Board of Supervisors meeting. We started at 9, ended at 12:53. We had a very full meeting, and so I'll just jump into it. First, we have some announcements and events. The Drexel Road Bridge community meetings, those are happening today, December 5th at 5:30 at El Pueblo Neighborhood Center, and December 9th, 6 p.m. on Zoom. We'll go ahead and put a graphic up, but if you live near Sunnyside Neighborhood, Midvale Park, there are 2 community meetings to learn more about the Drexel Road Bridge, and so please get involved in that. The COVID Wall Memorial, there is an event happening on Sunday, December 10th at 3 p.m. at Mission Manor Park. That's located at 6100 South 12th Avenue. Artist Alex Jimenez has completed a mosaic wall that represents COVID Memorial. With help from the community, making tiles and sending names. The wall has been completed and will be installed at Mission Manor Park. There'll be a reading, music, refreshments, and candle lighting ceremony. So please help, kind of honor and celebrate the lives of those who passed from COVID. Lastly, please join us in collecting toys for tots. I know there are bins everywhere, boxes all over. We have one here in our lobby and in our building. We're collecting at the Pima County Board of Supervisors until December 11th. So please stop by 33 North Stone in the lobby to donate, or reach out to us and we'll go and pick it up, whatever is easiest for you. So let me get into our meeting. It started with the Pledge of Allegiance from Jack Kincaid. He is an environmental health specialist too with the Pima County Health Department, has been working with Pima County since September of 1988, 35 years. And that was the very first time that he'd ever stepped foot in the Board of Supervisors boardroom. So thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. And I think it's just so important to open up the access for all of our employees and community members to come down into that public space. So thank you for that. Thank you to Lindsay Curley, Easter librarian from Valencia Library, for the land acknowledgement and the beautiful poem. Really appreciate you coming, and I loved that so many of your friends were there to support you. That was nice. The Small Business Awards, we had 3. The Small Business Commission honored Hem and Her, Vale Coffee, and Sister Jose's Closet as Small Business Awardees. So thank you all for coming, and there's a nice post from the county about that too. We had 17 speakers that came to call to the audience, many of whom supported the Prosperity Initiative. It's a Board of Supervisors policy that was approved. I'll go into detail about that in a minute. Several speakers also supported that Prosperity Initiative and spoke in opposition to the new jail, and how those 2 initiatives in their minds really are opposed to each other, and I agree. So the Prosperity Initiative is really an amazing sort of cornerstone document in Pima County. It's really going to be transformational if done right, in really looking at 2-generational poverty and how do we change circumstances for our communities that are most vulnerable. And I think that if you want more information about that, I encourage you to check it out. Look at the item on the agenda. Bonnie Basada and Nicole Fife have done some really amazing work in sort of shaping what this looks like. They did outreach to nonprofits like United Way, Community Food Bank, YWCA of Southern Arizona, all of our partners, and we received a lot of letters in support. Thank you to Penelope Jacks for coming down and encouraging us to support this Prosperity Initiative, because the big piece of it just solidifies the funding and direction of Pima County in early childhood education, which I was happy to support. That item passed 3-1. Supervisor Christie voted no. I don't think it had anything to do with the actual program. He did bring up some concerns about funding, but these initiatives is really just directing how our policy, like having a blueprint for policy work, and I thought it was great. And so I was very happy to support it. It's very promising. I think that Urban Institute is going to help track the progress of this initiative. That's one of the key things when you're doing these sort of strategic plans and work that touches so many parts of an organization like this Prosperity Initiative will. It's important to have that way to track it, but also to have more staff dedicated to it, and the U of A has committed more volunteers. So I think that that's going to be a really good partnership. We had an IGA that was approved 4-0 with TUSD, our county attorney's office to give out gun locks. And so at every TUSD school, there's going to be 10 gun locks that are going to be out of the counselor's office. And thank you to Dr. Trujillo, our superintendent of TUSD, and board member Jennifer Ekstrom for coming down and sort of advocating for this. I think it's a really great idea. What is nice is that homicides in Pima County are down 20% from last year, but we do have increases in the number of children that have access to weapons, that are bringing them on campus, that are threatening other people, that are putting it on social media. So this will really be very beneficial, and I was glad to support this pilot program, and our board supported that unanimously. There were 18,000 locks distributed in gun sales at Pima County, the fairgrounds, and that was a partnership that District 5 worked to connect our county attorney to. And so we just want to continue to make gun locks available to everybody. And if you have a gun at home, please put a lock on it. Our county attorney said it several times that if one life is saved because of this initiative, then it's totally worth it. And I agree completely. So there was a presentation by the Community Food Bank that has been serving our community, Community Food Bank of Southern Arizona, since 1975. Part of the Feeding America program, there's 200 food banks that are a part of that, and 4 of those are here in Arizona. The statistics are really staggering. 1 in 10 adults and 1 in 7 children are facing hunger. We are 9th in the nation for the highest rate of hunger in children, and in Pima County alone, we have increased 25%. The food bank indicated that there was a demand for services that increased from July 2023, 25%. That is really staggering. And so what they did is they talked about how they're going to be dedicating more services to areas that utilize it more, and how the transition with Casa Alitas and Miranda food banks and that whole process went. And I think that was very helpful. Our community food bank serves 23,000 square miles, 5 counties, 8 locations, and has 365 partner agencies. So thank you for that presentation. We really appreciated it, and I think it cleared up a lot of questions about what direction the community food bank is going in. They're a vital partner to our community, and we want to make sure that we understand what services they're providing. Pima County is increasing insurance rates from $5.69 for an individual employee per paycheck up to $10.12 for a family, for an employee and their entire family, and that would be per paycheck. But what is also increasing is the access to lifestyle points. And so beginning in fiscal year 25, that would increase from $35 per paycheck up to $50 per paycheck. So if you are a county employee and are concerned about the increase in healthcare rates and the increasing cost for everything, I encourage you to go into that system and start logging your lifestyle points. And you can see a pretty significant decrease in how much you're charged per month. We talked a little bit on item number 34. We talked about accepting of funds for from the SSP, and what that is, what it was addressing is the migrant services, asylum services. We are accepting in a grant from Homeland Security, Federal Emergency Management Agency grant programs, and that will be for $12,093,182. And what we learned today is I was under the impression that we were utilizing $3.1 million a month for the services for Casa Alitas. It's up because the volume of people is up to $4 million a month, which means we're already dipping into these this funding, and it looks like instead of being able to continue to provide these services through the end of May, that timeline has dramatically jumped to the end of February and early March. So if we don't have any other funding coming from the federal government to help with asylum seekers and migrant services, then we will be out of funds at the, possibly as early as the end of February. And one of the things that frustrates me when people come to speak to call to the audience is they continue to say, well, we need to be out of the federal government's that's not our job. There's this push to not accept federal funds. Thus far, Pima County has been able to be the conduit, provide the services, and provide humanitarian aid to people who are legally seeking asylum, coming into the Tucson sector, bringing them into Casa Alitas, and getting them to their final destination. Tucson is not their final destination. The average person, the maximum number is about 72 hours that people stay in Pima County. So what I want to make really clear, as this new funding is really restrictive, much more restrictive than we've been used to. And so we will see street releases that will be occurring. That has not happened in Pima County. And when you hear from people, a call to the audience and one of my colleagues saying that this is not we're not in the business of providing this federal function, what we've been doing is providing the infrastructure for our counties, neighboring counties that don't have the capacity to do it. And so we've been helping, the city of Tucson, Santa Cruz, Cochise, and other neighboring communities in order to absorb a lot of the services, because they come to Tucson for those services, and then we arrange travel and get them to their final destination, to their sponsors. So it's going to be a very dramatic change, and like it might even happen before our next board meeting. So I just, if you want to hear that exchange, it was a little frustrating for me, because having just come from Washington, D.C., there's so much that people don't understand about the situation that is just, it's imminent. It's going to happen any moment, and then the responsibility will really be on us, on the communities, on the smaller communities, and that's where it will be a federal emergency. I unfortunately, I think that that's where we're headed. So I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that my visit with our representatives and senators in the House of Representatives and Senators, and with Homeland Security and the White House have some impact. That's what we're hoping for. Anyway, and then we accepted $3.1 million from the Arizona Department of Emergency Military Services for the purchase of the Drexel facility. That was approved at a previous meeting on November 7th. So Pima County put forward the funds, and now this is helping to reimburse and pay for over half of that purchase, which we appreciate. There was an update. We provided an update about the D3 vacancy, which is Supervisor Bronson. Since we accepted her resignation effective November 27th, we have 8 candidates that are all registered to vote, registered as a Democrat. The candidate resides in District 3, and the candidate is over the age of 18. That was verified by our county recorder. All of these candidates still have to go through an HR background check, but we have Jennifer Allen, April Ignacio, Brian Johnson, Matt Kopek, Kristen Randall, Sylvia Lee, Joe Machado, Edgar Soto, and those are the people that have applied, and we are going through a process here in our office where we have scheduled appointments with every single applicant, and we're going to be asking them a series of questions that they all have, and nothing is a surprise, and we're going to do our due diligence. I asked the rest of my colleagues to indicate what they were going to be doing, and both Supervisor Scott and Supervisor Hines have a very similar process, scheduling individual appointments. Supervisor Christie indicated that he's gathering information. So I don't know if that means that he's going to be doing interviews, but if any of those candidates, anyone that's supporting them, I would encourage you to reach out to all of the supervisors if we haven't reached out to you to schedule those appointments. Our next meeting is going to be on December 19th, Tuesday, December 19th, and it is then that we will be appointing, if all things go as planned, one of these candidates. We will also have a public forum, hopefully facilitated by the League of Women Voters, and that we're hoping that they extend their time from an hour to an hour and a half, so we can have at least a little bit more meaningful dialogue, get some information out publicly about these candidates. With that is all I have. I hope y'all stay safe, my friends. Thanks for keeping up with Pima County politics.